Everybody ready to go? All right.
Forward to Saturday night's upcoming game against Tennessee, 7:45
on SEC Network, and we will turn loose with Coach Stoops.
Okay, thanks, Tony. It was really a lot of mixed emotions after this past week. Really encouraged with the way our team played. Again, really set up well for us. I appreciate the fans and ex-players, and so many people were around and excited about that game and encouraged with the way our kids played, and disappointed with the outcome. And that's what's heartbreaking. Our fans deserve it, our players deserve it, and our team has worked extremely hard to improve, and that I greatly appreciate. We need a different result, and we're going to go back to work. We have another great opportunity here this week with Tennessee, and a team that's playing very well. They had a tough loss in a big rivalry game this past week, and I'm sure they're looking to bounce back and come in here and play us. But very good football team, extremely explosive, averaging 44 points a game, number 2 in the country. Typical Tennessee offense, very hard to defend, very fast. The quarterback's playing at an exceptional level. 3 wide receivers and more, an abundance of receivers, but 3 that really stand out. Very good at the offensive line, and defensively, again, playing equally as good. Very disruptive up front, lead the SEC in sacks, very stout on the front level with the D-line, and probably have one of the best players in the SEC at linebacker, and playing good in the back end. So another great opportunity. Looking forward to getting back with our players today. Saw a good deal of them yesterday around the building, and they're in good spirits and ready to go back to work. So for me, it's the same. Disappointed in the outcome, but very much enthusiastic about getting back to work here this week, and encouraged to get around our players and continue to improve.
Mark, what's the primary area of growth you've seen in Cutter since that second quarter in South Carolina?
A number of things. I think, he's more comfortable in the pocket. He's been doing a good job of working around there. And even under duress, he's been delivering the football. And again, I was, very encouraged by the completion percentage. When you can complete 80% against that type of defense, with, under duress, that says a lot. And it's also encouraging because the receivers are stepping up and playing better as well. In a better plan, if you will, or, doing some things to make sure we're helping them in that area.
He was quite emotional after the game on Saturday. Have you talked to him? How do you keep his spirits?
Oh yeah, no, that's no issue with him, none at all. We visited yesterday and didn't at all address that because I don't need to with him. He's very positive. He's very confident. I love that about him. He's very, very much. That's to be expected after that game. I heard people talk about that with me or whatever, my demeanor. I was disappointed for the fans and disappointed for our players, and obviously for the program. I mean, that's important. But again, encouraged with the way we played, and I think all of us are feel that way. So, whatever we focus on will determine how we feel, and what we do.
Mark, obviously it didn't work, so you changed some things, but more than 2 days later, what do you think about the way that goal line stand played out in overtime?
Very much how I felt, in game. Again, I don't want to create stir or because I thought Bush did a really good job in that game plan, and we moved the ball very well, as good as anybody has all year against them. There's plays in there that I think we would do like to look at differently, and again I would probably start with a first and goal from the 3 and what set we were in and what we were doing. Play 2, we tried a good play action pass, and Cutter was good. He ad-libbed and got a few yards. They covered it well, the pass play. Play 3 and play 4. I mean, I don't have regret on that. I don't. Right or wrong, I don't. You watch it on the copy, on the coach's copy. I mean, we were inches We were literally 2 inches from that ball crossing on play 3. Inches. His head was across, the ball was probably in his chest. I'm not saying it was a bad call, but I mean, it was either in or inches.
Mark, this isn't sort of a new problem, just the red zone. I mean, you're moving the ball well, but red zone's been just in the area
Fair.
over years. So, is there any? I know Bush mentioned like you can score from outside of the red zone, but are there ways to get more creative down there
Yeah.
to create mismatches?
Yeah, I think that's fair. And, and again, I don't have regret on play 3 and 4. When they don't win, I mean, obviously, throw a fade or do something, yeah, there are definitely things we could do. That's fair. It's fair criticism, and I think we're making strides in a lot of areas. That's one where, a lot of times you watch football, you watch it in the pro level, you watch it in college, you create one-on-ones and you win. We have to give our kids good opportunities. I feel like our quarterback's playing at a very high level right now, and so he places it in some spots where our guys maybe have an opportunity.
It felt like, just generally speaking, there were a lot more one-on-one wins in the passing game, whether McGowan in the 2-minute or even Hardley. Was there something that you saw early on that maybe you thought the wide receivers might, like a light might turn on for them?
I believe it, I've talked about it in here, and again, I think tongue in cheek. I mean, you listen to me talk for a long time, and sometimes it's coach speak or whatever, but I really feel like the way they've worked, the way they, we have a lot of bodies there, and the way they've been working hard, for the entire season. But I think since Cutter's been involved in what we're trying to do, I feel like those guys have taken it to another level with their work ethic throughout the week. And we're trying to find some continuity, trying to find some new guys. We played DJ the most he's played this year, Cam, the most he's played, and Stelato's getting back involved. And so I just feel like there's a mixture of guys, and there's some progress there.
You talked about making.
And I think a lot comes down to the quarterback and ball placement and what he's done, and I think Cutter's playing at a high level. Sorry.
You talked about making strides. Your defense holds them to 8 first downs. You got pressure on the quarterback all night. Might have been their best performance of the year. What kind of strides did you see in your defense?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we've come in here before on Mondays and have to address, tackling issues and all those things. And what I always say, it's team defense. The one-on-one exposure popped its ugly head in the punt return game. They beat us in some one-on-ones, and so we play very good people. These are elite, players, and they beat us in one-on-one in the punt returns. People are going to say, what happened? What'd you do? It was a great punt. We had a guy right in front of him. We missed the tackle. And there's things we could do better. There's things we will address. We had been, really good to that point. We had given up 1 punt return all year. And so, and by the way, we played the number 1 punt return person in the country in South Carolina and held them to -5 yards. You know what I mean? So we take pride in what we do there too, and had done it very well. Wasn't good enough in this game. No excuses, wasn't good enough. But defensively, same thing. I felt like we did a lot of good things, and it comes down to team defense and in good position and guys swarming and feeding off the crowd and playing well. So, we played a good game. I was very proud of the effort that they gave, and the coaches did a great job of putting them in good position.
Mark, what did you see from Grant Godfrey? He seemed to be pretty active in his game.
Yeah, Grant, he didn't get a ton of opportunities in that game. We did play 5 backers, but, again, I think he's just a guy that needs reps, getting better. The guys in front of him are playing pretty good. And so, but it is good to get that experience and continue to bring them along.
There was a couple times when you guys went some faster tempo. Is that something that Cutter is comfortable with? Because you had some success, and that's something you can build on.
It's just trying to change the pace, trying to spark the offense. We did run a heck of a lot of plays, which was really good. And by the way, you've heard me talk about that for a long time too. Like, as we get more plays, people get more touches, right? Tight ends are touching the ball, the backs touch the ball, receivers are touching the ball. So if we can get more plays, we look at all options. I mean, obviously this week, a little different, with how fast Tennessee plays. But, if we could use a change of pace, we will.
Mark,
He's got 3 2-minute drives, essentially. You've gotten 3 kicks.
Mm-hmm.
What does he bring to the offense, and why do you think you're having success with him in those situations?
just his instincts. I want to say, it was the first play of, I can't remember which drive, at the end of the game drive where he scrambled, right? He scrambled. And so just things like that, off schedule, not perfect, very good defense. What was there, he took. Made a quick decision, got us started there, so, he's made good decisions. I think offensively we've had decent protection, good drive starters, even though he was off schedule there and made a good play, but, he's just been operating. In practice, it's been that way. Bush has been really, hard on him on quick decisions and, being decisive. As the people we're playing and the D linemen they have, they could harass you in a hurry. So I think it's been making good, quick decisions.
I got the question a lot why Seth didn't get any touches in overtime. How do you balance, especially in the game when he was injured, not riding him too much and making sure that one of your best players gets?
In overtime, we hit the play to the 3, and then he was very, very banged up. He wasn't just a little banged up. He was at the hospital. So I think putting our big guy in there wasn't a bad choice.
Defensively, is it fair to say that you all have been playing more aggressively as of late, like from a schematic standpoint? And
No, not really. I mean, but I don't have the exact numbers in there. There may have been a few more pressures in there, but the simulateds, the pressures, the mix-ups, maybe a touch more in that game, but not drastically. I wouldn't say.
So really, the defensive line just played well.
The defensive line played better, but the simulateds were effective. So when your idea of pressure and mine may be different, but depending, that coach did a really good job. Brad did a very good job. We went, straight man. We did some eyes coverage where we're bringing pressure with zone underneath, and then we've done some simulateds where it appears that you're bringing pressure and you're really only bringing 4. So we did bring in that game of simulated with different varieties of 4, 5, and 6. So we mixed it up pretty good, and it was effective.
Is it harder to do stuff like that against a team like Tennessee?
Yeah, it is. It is. In Tennessee's a bit more conventional with their splits this year, but still get wide at times. And they do an exceptional job with, the quarterbacks playing at a super high level, but the arm strength and their receivers could really put a lot of pressure on you. I mean, they win one-on-ones a lot, and they do a great job of mixing it up. I mean, with Josh and his offenses, we've talked about it here because we play them so much, but people that don't realize how effective they are in the run game. And this year, they're rushing for 200 yards a game, throwing for 300. I believe they're actually throwing it better than they have in some time, and that's saying a lot because they generally throw it very well. But this year, I feel like they're even taking it to another level with their pass game.
Mark, what was your assessment of Ryan Nichols? And is there any update on Waller?
Yeah, Ryan played a very good game. Really one of his best games against, elite competition. And, he's getting more confident and just played a very good game. We needed him to, and, was much better on the perimeter and all those things we've been talking about in here. So very proud of the effort of Ryan, and he's a great young man, great leader, plays with a lot of confidence. He really cares about his team. So he's terrific. Can't say enough good things about him. DJ is very disappointed. He has worked his tail. I mean, he is a guy that I have to hold back all the way back before the bye. Was trying like heck to play, and people that he's going through it now, but with hamstrings, I've said it before. You think you're ready to go, and then it's just unfortunate, and he went out there Friday so excited. I don't know if he's running around too much on a Friday, but we did an MRI, and there's definitely a spot. It's a setback. We'll see whether it's in the scar tissue or whether it's new, and try to get him back as soon as possible. But I know he's chomping at the bit.
Mark, going back to Tennessee's passing game, and they got 3 of the top 10 in the SEC in receiving yards. How big of a challenge is it?
It's a challenge. I mean, I just alluded to it with my last question there, but they're playing at a really high level. They really are. very good receivers, one freshman and two older guys, and they're really elite. They really get out of their breaks. They put a ton of pressure on you with their speed, and we know their big play capability, but then they shut it down and the quarterback delivers it, so they can get it there in a hurry.
Mark, their defense runs that 4-2 a lot. How different is that from Texas, and what different difficulties does that pose for your offense?
Well, I wouldn't say schematically. I mean, they're good, they're sound, but they play really hard. They play really good. You know, it starts with their guys up front being very disruptive. You know, on both sides of the line of scrimmage, you know, they're really playing at a high level. They're elite. They're very good players on their O line and their D line. And so, you know, and then they're aggressive. You know, when they score a lot of points like that, they're aggressive, and they do a good job with takeaways as well. So they're playing good.
Coach, you mentioned that Seth was pretty banged up during overtime, so you opted not to put him in.
Well, I didn't say that was why. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just simply stating he was banged up, and we're on the goal line, and we have a 220-pound back. So yeah, but no, that's fine.
Understood.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
What is his status right now? How is he looking as a deal?
And I'm addressing that for other people, not for you, because I knew the intention of your question. You had good intentions. Other people will take that and spin it and say, I said it. I didn't say that. But Seth is, he is a tough young man, and, you know, he really wants to play. And the fact that he was at the hospital, came back and finished, you know, says a lot about him, as I mentioned post-game. You know, he's banged up, but we expect him back.
Coach, you mentioned scar tissue with DJ Waller. Did he go under the knife first?
No. Mm-mm.
What can you feel about your offensive line depth? We talked about that a lot going into the year, but those main five guys basically played every snap.
We have been fortunate, yeah. We've been fortunate with that, but we are working hard. You know, practice has been really good, and we're continuing to develop all those guys. And so we do feel like we have some guys that are ready to go in and step up, and we'll see when that opportunity comes.
Mark, even if all the running backs are healthy, is Jason Patterson earning more opportunities?
He is doing a good job. You know, very happy for Jason. I think he's just been, it just shows, I mean, just, you know, steady progress, just working hard every day. He kind of just puts his head down and goes to work every day, and it's paying off for him.
Cutter spread the ball out quite a bit. I know you were talking about Zoe Bush.
Plays.
You know, I mean, clearly that's an advantage for you guys. You feel like the receivers feed off each other, the running backs catch the ball a lot, the tight ends.
Well, again, and you know, it has to do with us, you know, performing at a better level, right? It'd be more first downs, you get more plays, more touches. And so I think, yes, Cutter's doing a very good job. I think Bush, you know, we move the ball very efficiently. I mean, obviously we need to be better in the red zone and in the, you know, the short yards on the first possession and in, you know, on the goal line. But we are moving the ball much better and getting more plays. Therefore, there's going to be people getting more touches.
You played beat the clock at the end of the half and at the end of regulation. Of course, you missed the first field goal, but I mean, you had to feel good about how you all executed in the closing seconds both times.
Yeah, very, very much so. We've been efficient in the 2-minute drill, and so you know, I think you know, Cutter's doing a very good job, as I mentioned earlier. I think he's just had a good feel for it. You know, making quick decisions. Guys making some plays. I think Seth, you know, was dynamic with a check down, you know, getting us started. So a variety of things.
Very good.
I have one more.
Mm-hmm.
The play that got you all to the goal line, the passing run, you might have touched on this with Kendrick. Had you run that play, or was that in your hip pocket all night long? Or?
No, we hadn't run it that way, you know, that exact way all night. But, you know, we have a variety of ways to get Kendrick the ball. Yeah.
Particular play of the blocking scheme, you know.
Depends exactly who's there as well, but we want to get it started. And we had two big guys there get it started there. And depends how quickly the next threat shows up.
I actually have one more. Mark, as you mentioned, you guys played really well against Swain in the punt return game, but I mean, you guys do rank last in the SEC in punt return defense. Is there anything where you just tell maybe Aiden to try to kick it out of bounds more, just to not make that a possibility the other team can
Well, I mean, I can't dispute the facts. I could only tell you our thought process going into it. Going into it, they had one punt return all year. So, I mean, it's easy to say that afterwards, you know what I mean? But we missed, with that punt, good punts, a lot of times in our coverage unit, you'll hear me talk about the kicking game itself, right? Not always on the coverage. It's on the kicker sometimes with a kickoff return or punt return and all that. But those were good punts. But we had a guy flat right in front of him. And there's a couple other things, areas where we need to work on today. That we can, but yeah, after the fact, you can easily say that. But again, like, we had been exceptional in net punting, and doing very well all year, and had confidence in that. And we want to attack things the right way and not have to feel like you got to kick it out of bounds. But I mean, there's things we certainly will do better. But we had a guy flat right directly in front of him. You know what I mean? So, he thought he was going to fair catch it, and I'd rather have him run right through him, you know what I mean? So we've done that before and tried to coach that up too. So, we'll continue to work at it, but our philosophy is, we've been very effective, very efficient. And, after that punt return, we're last, going into it, we're top. I want to say prior to that, as I mentioned, I think we gave 25 punt return yards all year. So pretty easy to say after the fact.
I think you had Stellato out for the last of your punt returns on Saturday.
Pardon me?
I think Troy Stellato
Yeah.
out for the last of your punts. Was that a permanent change? It does seem like Ty is fumbled.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that in the game, I went to coach during the game. I said, that's it. You know what I mean? For tonight. You know what I mean? And obviously it gets in your head. And, he's human. And it happens. And it gets swirling. And I didn't want him thinking about it. He has a lot of stress on him playing defense as well. And, we have other guys. So I thought, for the night, it was the smart thing to do.
What's the status of that position this week?
I mean, we'll see. I don't want to, I don't need to throw Ty under the bus right now either. Ty's a great young man and playing his tail off, and it's not easy. It's different in that stadium too, and it's different with wind, and it's not easy. And he's done a great job, and we'll work at it.
Everybody good?
Okay, thanks.
See you tomorrow.